Welcome, Rebecca. Thank you for joining me for this YouTube series on self-publishing. I do have your official bio below the video, but would you mind telling us a bit about yourself in your own words?
Sure. I grew up in the Northeast, spent most of my life in the Northeast working and in a major corporation handling their communications for their employees and retirees. And then when I retired, I decided I wanted to get out of the cold and the taxes. And so I moved to North Carolina. Um, and now, since I'm not working anymore, I get to spend a lot of time writing. I've always written all my entire life, even since I was a kid. But it's been so nice just to be able to sit and write different things. And I write in different genres. I write in nonfiction, fiction, memoir, even children. So it's a fun time of my life.
That's great. That's great to hear. So I know you've published more than once so far. So would you mind
Yes.
sharing with our audience what your books are titled and when you publish them?
Yes, absolutely. So I published with you guys. I self-published with you guys this past year in 22 in the um, early part of 22. And there were two books that I published. They were, one is a non-fictional women's devotional. It's called The Artistry of God. And they are a series of beach walks written as parables on Nantucket Island. And then the second book is a mystery, which also takes place on Nantucket. And that I've so enjoyed writing it. I mean, I've just gone there in my head, and I'm actually writing the sequel right now.
Amazing. I can't wait.
I can't either. I just have to figure out how I'm going to end it.
Don't spoil it for us. I'm glad you don't know yet.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. So, what led you to decide to self-publish those books?
Well, trying to break into the publishing or even the literary agent market is almost impossible unless you know someone. And clearly, I don't know anyone in that market. And you need to have this social media presence of like 10,000 people, and I don't have that. My books are particularly the devotional, they're a ministry. And so I'm just not interested in spending all my time trying to get my social media platform up to 10,000 people, if I even could. And so where it goes is it's up to God. I mean, it's ministered to a lot of people. The mystery is really just fun for people who read mysteries. And so I just decided that I wanted to have control over the content, and I wanted to have control over when it came out and and how it was done. So that was really that, and the fact that I just, you can't break into the publishing world now. But I think it's primarily because I want control over my content. And that's not easy if you hand it off to a publisher.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. So, what parts of this process of self-publishing did you enjoy?
Oh my goodness. Well, writing a book is super creative, and that's really, really fun. Publishing a book is just hard work. Um, and the thing that I liked about you guys the most is that you made it so easy for me. I am not a social media guru. I just, you can tell by looking at me, I wasn't raised in the last 20 years. Um, and so trying to deal with that and get it up and get it onto Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all of that was just way too complex for me. So that was hard. But even the learning curve that I had with you all getting things done and back to you, you guys made it easy. And you were very kind to me when I made mistakes. So,
That's good. Yeah, that's one of the things that we do at Typewriter Creative is make it accessible for people,
yeah,
right? That's our hope. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think if you're really super technology, you know, minded, you can do all this yourself. But I don't want to do this all myself. And I want to make sure that when I do it, it's really professional. And even if I tried to do it myself, I wouldn't be satisfied. So,
Yeah.
and I am very satisfied. You guys did a great job.
That's great. So, were there any particular challenges that really stand out to you in the process? And, with our support or without, how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah. I think there are simple things like you helped me work with the algorithms to see how much I wanted to price the book, what kind of paper, what kind of ink, all that kind of thing, which I just did not know how to do. And that was a bit challenging for me. Um, it was also just challenging to get the document into shape in order to get it up for you. Um, writing the clip for Amazon and for the back of the book was a bit of a challenge because you have to have very few sentences. But again, I felt like you all offered good suggestions for that and helped me through that.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So I know, we took care of, some of those marketing things for you, the design of your book inside and
Yes.
outside. You did the writing. Did you hire any outside editors?
No, I did not. Yeah, no. The only outside person that I used was the artist that did the watercolors for the devotional. But I didn't hire her. She's one of my best friends, so she did it out of love.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, for those watching, if you happen to have an artist friend, it's great to be able to collaborate and pull some
Oh
of that
yeah,
art into your book. It makes for something just really, really special for sure.
yeah. And her husband actually is a really good photographer. So between the two of them, I think they came up with some really good art.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. So, is there anything you would change about your self-publishing journey?
Yeah, I think one of the hardest things I had to do was to find beta readers. And people are so busy that they don't want to do this. So over the last year, I've kind of cultivated some friends who are also writers, who the next round I can use as beta readers. But I think the editing part is the hardest of this. I've spent my whole life writing and editing professionally, and I've learned to edit and then leave it for 2 or 3 weeks and then come back. But it's still really hard to edit your own work. And so I think I may try, well, I know I'll try the next time using some beta readers. And one of them in particular is a friend of mine. And if he tells me I need to edit something, then I'll go hire an editor. I'd rather not, but again, just because of the integrity of the document. But I use a really good grammar spell check machine now. So I would say, yeah, that editing and getting it to a point of perfection, it's really hard. And I know, I mean, even from the books, I read a lot of mysteries and a lot of novels, and I always find typos. I always find a couple of things wrong almost in every book. But there's a certain amount of pride in trying to get it into the best place it possibly can.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But yeah, like you said, even a traditionally published book, that's gone through all of those different hands and all those different editors and
Yeah.
processes can still come out with typos. It just
Right.
happens,
I
right? So we
know.
can't really expect absolute perfection, but we
Right.
can, hope for the
Right.
best. But it's also one of those pieces where, at least as self-published authors, if we find a typo or if a reader notifies us of a typo, we can change it, right?
Right.
Because we use print on demand companies. So it's not like we have a print run of, 500,000 and it's like, sorry, like these all have to get
Yeah,
sold with the typo
exactly.
for now, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, I
Yes.
agree.
Yeah. So there are definitely some benefits. I always say, make sure your manuscript is as perfect as you can get it, but then know if you find something, when you find something, at least it can be changed, right?
Yeah.
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 Well, and you guys were, I mean, I thought what I gave you was perfect, and then it wasn't. And you guys were very patient and very kind with me getting it to the point where we actually could upload it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. So what benefits have you experienced by self-publishing?
Oh, I think it's just so much easier. The process is really clear. And as you said, if we want to change something this year or next year or whenever, we can do that. Um, I feel like I have better control over where it goes and who gets to read it. Um, I think the only downside to self-publishing is the bookstores don't really like to carry your book. And even though they know they can get it, for instance, like on Ingram Spark, or Lightning Source, they don't always want to do that. And sometimes I wish that it would change so that they would recognize that there are a lot of people out there who are really good writers, um, that need to be on the bookshelf. So I think that's the only drawback. But as you said, and I think it's true, most of the sales come from Amazon. And that's been true for me, on this. And that's the world that we live in now. So I just, I wish that part of the world had changed, but it really is not yet.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But hopefully, even one story at a time, we can, spread the word
right,
that there are some
right.
really great self-published books out there.
Yeah,
And that's part of what I love to do is, help writers publish a book that is going to hold up, right? Is going to look
yeah,
like it's been professionally published and it's that quality rather than what we've kind of known in the past, right? Where you can kind of look at a book
yes,
and know, oh, that was self-published, right? And there's nothing
right.
wrong with that if your goal is you just want to get it out there and you have some different reasons for that. And could be lower budget or it could just be, you just want to get it out there and the
Right.
results are not too important to you, right? But to put quality work out there,
Yeah,
I think is helping to sort of elevate the whole self-publishing world as a whole.
yeah,
Yeah, that's my hope, is to see that sort of, I guess, negative view kind of go away at some point.
yeah, yeah. I totally agree with that. And I think the small bookstores are really struggling against the big bookstores, and that's a shame. And the publishers are publishing fewer and fewer books, so the balance is probably going to shift to our side if it has not already, um, because we just can't, the market just won't withstand that much pressure without dropping the number of books put out.
Right.
And people are, they're going to experience what I experienced. I mean, I did try and get publishers, I did try and get a literary agent, but they are very niche oriented, and they've got specific agendas. And a lot of times when I went up on the sites, the literary agent sites, there were things on that site that they were publishing that I just didn't want to be with. So I'm hoping that you're right, that we can shift this, because there's so many really good writers out there that need to be enjoyed by the rest of the world.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so many great writers, and getting their words in readers' hands is what
Exactly.
really makes me passionate.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's great. So, last question for you, Rebecca. What would you say to someone who's considering self-publishing?
Oh, I would say definitely do it. I mean, if you feel like you want to try to get into the publishing world, then by all means do that. Um, but just know that it's, you could send out 100 letters to agents or to publishers, and that gets really negative after a while, and you start thinking, well, maybe I'm not a good writer, but you are a good writer, and other people who read your work know that you're a good writer. So I would say you try that if you feel like you have to, just to get it done and over with and to prove your own point. But if you want to save a lot of time, I would go with self-publishing right now. It's so much easier. It's such a cleaner process. It's a shorter process. You get your results really fast. I mean, you guys, within several months, we were out in the market. And I just think it's a better choice.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Rebecca, for joining me for an interview for this series, and the insights and encouragement, and hopefully our viewers gained something from our conversation today. So yeah, thank you again for
I hope
joining me,
so.
Rebecca.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, take care, everyone.